cartoon commentary is not intended for children. Tom, Keith, and Cory are usually wrong, and anything they say can and probably will offend you. Apologies in advance. Commence the podcast.
Cartoon
commentary.
Pokemon Indigo League, Season 1, Episode 24. We are recording. So, I hope Cory's still awake after all the intense stock talk.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Cartoon Commentary, a podcast where three trainers in their 30s talk about old, new, and sometimes world-changing cartoons. I'm the undeniable, undisputed Pokemon master, Cory. Is he shaped like a Snorlax? Zamir.
I'm Tom. I am a jelly-filled donut, O'Connell.
Oh, what the fuck?
And I'm Keith. Gotta catch 'em all and release them because I'm a nice guy, Barnofsky.
Okay, Ash Ketchum. That was always like one of my most. He trains up Pokemon to be so good, and then he's just like, let me release it into the wild so it can be free and help the other Pidgeots and Butterfree and all this.
You know what that was, though? Like, he was like, yeah, you know what? You're special. Why don't you go back to the wild? And he was just like, you can't cut it in the league, bitch. You can't.
Well, no, what it was is they'd come out with a new game, so he'd have to replace all the starters with the new starters and basically fuck up his team every single, couple of years.
Why didn't he just do what you did in the game where you just send him back to Professor Oak for Professor Oak to just have a whole bunch of Pokemon servants?
I don't know, because, for instance, if he really needed to win this league battle and there was no rules against using Charizard, why not just use Charizard? Like, he sets his own rules for things, and he only ends up using, the Pokemon from that region when he's in a new region, so...
Well, first, let's just acknowledge he is a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah,
That's
an
true.
immortal 10-year-old
And
kid.
honestly, wait, let's go back to that strategy. So when he goes to a new region, he only uses the Pokemon from that region. Wouldn't technically the best bet to be to use some Pokemon at least from outside that region that people in that region don't have?
Yeah.
Like, by only using Pokemon that are found in that region, you're just like, hey, I could have had an advantage. But fuck that.
He likes the challenge.
I mean, I get that, kind of, but he's a 10-year-old kid. I just feel like he's being dumb. I don't feel like it's a strategic... granted, the strategic move would be to keep some of your other Pokemon, have a well-diversified team of abilities to be able to capitalize on other Pokemon's weaknesses. And if you're in a particular region, they're going to be, hopefully, probably focused on Pokemons of certain elements that you could basically just be like, oh, look, I caught a bunch of Pokemons from this region. I know what the elements that they're made up of. I'm going to capitalize on those weaknesses and just steamroll these people. And instead, he's like... no, I'm going to catch brand new Pokemon every time and then win with them, except for Pikachu.
Well, the thing is, Pikachu is part of the problem. Because...
Oh, that fucker Pikachu. Don't get me started.
No, I'm thinking about this logically because I've thought about Pokemon a lot over the years. Now, the problem with Pikachu is in a gameplay setting, having been through so many different regions, never been outside of the party, all the battles he's been through, he's got to be at least level 99, 100, Like, he is a fully trained Pikachu at this point. The problem with that is he gets into a new region, he throws Pikachu out against like one of the new starters, and he gets his ass whooped against a level 5 Pokemon. What we now have established for the cartoon is levels don't exist.
Yeah, which I mean,
Which makes sense because with how fast Ash's Charizard, evolves, like he obviously didn't gain like he literally, I think after the point when he becomes a Charmeleon, he literally evolves in like the next like 3 or 4 episodes or something like that
yeah. I mean, at the
into a
same
Charizard.
at the same time though, at the little that I've seen of Pokemon is that like Pikachu comes out right, he gets his ass kicked, but usually Pikachu ends up winning. Like he doesn't get his ass kicked and like pass out. Like he gets his ass kicked, but then he comes back and wins. So I feel like
Well, no, there's some L's on his record.
are there?
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. Because I was gonna say if it was one of those things where it's like it's another Pokemon that he's just never encountered, like he could just be thrown off. It's like fighting martial arts and like coming into a ring with somebody that has a totally different style you've never seen before. So like for the first 5 minutes they kick your ass, and then once you like he cues into it, and then he's like, oh wait, I just have to thunderbolt him like everybody fucking else. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And don't use the Iron Tail. The Iron Tail is garbage. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the thing is, like, Ash doesn't. I think I haven't pulled this up, but from just memory, he's only won like 2 championships. Like I believe in like season 2 or whatever happens in between, red, blue, gold, silver. They have the Orange League, which is kind of like the bullshit league where you get badges by not actually fighting people, but by dicking around doing stupid challenges kind of thing. Like he supposedly wins that one from what I remember. But then I remember it made news a few years ago when he actually won like whatever Pokemon championship there was. When he usually just loses at some point.
I mean,
So he has like 2 like championships, I guess.
So I mean, like,
But still, his Pikachu will go to the next region and get clowned on by a level 5 Pokemon.
I mean, like, if you won the World Series of Poker twice, you'd be a multi-millionaire. So,
And then you come over to our local game and we take you for all you have. Apparently,
can we just get this one really awkward thing out of the way? That like Pokemon is basically fancy dogfighting.
I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part, yeah, that's true.
So like the only reason why this is okay is because it's fantasy, it's a cartoon, and nothing's real, and there's no blood. But other
And
than that,
and realistically, no Pokemon ever dies, except from old age, I
Yep,
guess.
but
Question mark.
But at the same time, if two dogs like beat the shit out of each other for money, that still wouldn't be okay. Like even if you
No.
didn't do it to the death. So like, it's
Right.
it's just one of those things where I'm just like, if you know.
Well,
Even if,
you know,
if me and Tom had guinea pigs and we were just like, shit, we're putting razor blades on their heads and they're gonna fight, like somebody would arrest us for that. Like,
Well, yeah, but it's fantasy dog fighting.
well,
The same way that if you play D&D, that's fantasy. You're not actually like getting swords and stabbing
you're
people
right.
with them.
It's kind of like fantasy football, where like I get all the excitement of football without having to like train or recover from getting hit.
No, not quite, because we're not actually
No,
pretending to
no.
play.
And we don't have.
We're
money on it.
basically just well, we usually have money on it. We're usually just pretending to be like coaches, I guess. Just like, yeah, you play, you sit.
Oh wait, you know what the new thing should be? God
What?
damn. So I know that there's Pokemon games out there right now. We like do battles and whatnot. Like, why don't we put money on these things? Like Pokemon battles with money. Like professional Pokemon players doing battles live. Put money on it. It's kind of like it's a McGregor versus I don't know whoever McGregor fights. McGregor just broke his ankle, by the way.
I thought it was his leg. Like,
Yeah, right above the ankle, I guess.
oh, yeah.
But
One of the many reasons I don't watch MMA.
yeah, it was. I saw the slow mo video. It was gross.
Yeah, I can't. A few years ago when see this, I don't watch MMA, but the other guy that snapped his leg on someone else's shin.
Yeah, yep.
Like,
No, McGregor. The funny thing is, McGregor didn't snap his leg on somebody else's shin. The other guy was kicking McGregor in the leg so many times, and then McGregor picked up his leg, and then went to put it down. By the time he picked it up, it was like floppy, and it was
Oh,
like,
God.
oh no, don't put that. Oh, he's gotta put it down. Oh, god damn it. It was bad.
Yeah. See, I get like super like squeamish about shit like that.
Yeah, me too. I think
Which-
I think most sane people do.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I'm perfectly so it's weird. I'm okay with watching MMA if it's not live. Like if you can vet it for me and let me know that nothing like that happened,
Yeah, like
I'll
no-
watch people get punched in the face all day.
Yeah. No like gruesome like bone breaks or
Yeah, and that's why I like not MMA, but aside from that, like with wrestling, I like watching like old ECW stuff, Extreme Championship Wrestling for the two co-hosts I have here that probably just blanked when I said that.
Yeah.
Or it's a whole bunch of, steel chairs, barbed wire, ladders, shit like that. But because it's all done and over with and it's all just, stuff that happened in the past, I know that there's nothing there that's going to, like, shock me and be like, oh, no, gross, this person's bone sticking, Like, I just don't want to see anything like that. So...
I get it. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't feel like I like to see it, but the problem is that like it'll come up on the internet and then I'll see it and then I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's...
and like I get like the shivers up the spine, the grossness, the weirded out, and then I go,
Yeah.
hold on, let me see it one more time.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
That's the problem with Facebook and any social media is I'll hear about it and I know it's just an eventuality.
yeah.
Like, no matter how hard I try, someone's going to have the video. I'm going to scroll Facebook and it's going to be auto playing and it's just
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, great, thanks.
But that's I don't know. Maybe it's part of this just the society. And I don't even have Facebook anymore. But like when I come across a video like that, it's like I see it, but I'm not prepared for it. So I see it and it's such a shock that I'm like, wait, that was awful. But did I see everything? So then I watch it again and I really soak in all of it. And I'm like, the whole time, I'm like almost mentally feeling the pain in his leg. And then I'm like, that's awful. Why would you ever do this? And then I'm like, wait, how many millions of dollars does he have?
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, I'd let somebody sledgehammer my leg for that many millions, okay? I mean, like once. One sledgehammer hit.
You get one good swing.
Yeah, you get one.
Yeah.
Make it fucking count. The paramedics better be right fucking there, too.
God damn.
Anyway, Tom, this is the
We
most...
basically...
No, this is the most gruesome intro to Pokemon. We've compared it
Dogfighting.
to dogfighting and UFC.
And you know what's funny is like you guys were going on and every once in a while I was trying to get my 2 cents in, but I didn't get a chance. I didn't even get to go on a rant about how this is pretty much slavery.
It's,
No, I'm not even kidding.
no,
Like,
Tom, you could save that for later in the episode. There's a perfect
well, yes,
point.
there is a perfect point.
There's
because,
a perfect
yeah,
point where you can bring that up. Actually, there's
Yeah.
probably 2 perfect points. So
the whole episode's perfect to explain it.
it's true. So, but
Oh,
Tom,
yes.
let's just peruse this episode in the UFC style commentary that we've already set out. It's not UFC commentary. It's UFC cringeworthy commentary that we've set out in style.
Sure. So anyhow, we didn't even say by this point. I'm sure the listeners have already figured out we're going to be talking about Pokemon, the animated cartoon.
I thought it was Pokemon.
Pokemon. I can't.
Pokemon or Pokemon?
Pokemon. I thought Pokemon. I don't know.
Pokemon.
Like
Is it a Pokeball?
no, right before the commercial break when you watched it as a
Pokemon?
kid. Pokemon.
No, it's Pokemon.
Nope.
It's is it
Pokemon?
Poke?
Is this gonna be Deke?
No, you guys correct me.
Dick.
Nobody's gonna get that. That episode's never gonna air.
I love that.
No,
Corey used
that's gonna be like
Oh,
the
I know.
second episode.
I know that Cory puts that in the end of every episode, but it's the origins are unknown.
No, it's going to be
Pokemon?
pretty much the
It's-
second episode people ever hear.
So, wait, hold on. Somebody pronounce it correctly. I dare you.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Oh, Tom did it wrong. Cory did it.
Pokemon. Pokemon. Pokemon.
Pokemon.
The E can't be harsh. It's not a Pokemon.
Gotta catch. Pokemon. I just hear the singers saying it right before the commercial break and like right as it's leading in from commercial.
But then think about how everybody in the show says it.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
but I don't give a shit about them. I care about the way the singers say it.
so
Because,
the people who like were paid to sing a song one time,
Yes.
and it's probably the first time they've heard any of these lyrics,
Yeah.
and no one probably was like, "Hey, it's pronounced this way."
All I know is, and
They're the ones that are the authority.
it's the greatest opening theme song to any show ever, and it's Pokemon.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I would have to agree with that.
So
I-
Google Pokemon pronunciation. It's Pokemon.
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 Pokehman. Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Oh my
Pokemon?
God.
Pokemon. All right, I know. Hold on. I gotta ask this question to Keith. Keith, Crayola makes these things you use the color with. What do you call it?
What?
Crayola makes these things you use the color with. What do you call them?
Crayons?
All right, you say it right.
It's
Do you
not
ever
a
hear the people-
crayon.
No. Wait a minute. How did you say it?
Crayon.
He said it crayons.
It's a crayon.
It's crayon. It's 2 syllables.
It's a crayon.
Crayon.
Like he went out of his way to say it wrong. Unless he just doesn't know how to actually say the word.
No, it's a crayon.
Keith, you gotta get your mic fixed. You're saying it wrong.
Pretty sure it's a crayon.
All right.
I'm pretty sure that Keith hears all words wrong. And then he just says it how he thinks he heard it. Like dick. And dick.
Dick.
Deek.
Dick. It's so weird. A little girl. And all of a sudden it says dick. It's like no.
See,
It says
it's all
Deke.
these it's all these conversations that just solidify that people are going to have to hear that episode.
It's Pokemon. It's Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's not Pokemon. It's Pokemon.
Oh, I'm not saying. I know I'm not saying it right, but I'm gonna keep saying it the way I'm saying
I
it.
literally Googled multiple results of like phonetic spellings and like YouTube. That's why I was asking you what, because I just wasn't paying attention to you because I was listening to other things. And other people saying this is the proper way to pronounce it. It's Pokemon. It's not
Wait.
Pokemon.
I
It's
know
Pokemon.
I know it's
You know you're wrong.
from Japan, but the word itself, Pokemon, is it Spanish? I thought it was Spanish for pocket monster.
I have no idea.
And I was gonna say
No,
if it is
Pokemon.
Spanish,
Pokemon is just the word they came up with to call them in the United States.
Wait, so what is it called in Japan?
Pocket monsters.
Okay.
So if you look at the back of a Japanese
oh,
Pokemon card, it says Pocket Monsters on it.
so that makes sense though, because Pokemon is like kind of like even letter wise, like it's pocket monsters. It's Poke, but I mean Poke is that's if you're looking at Poke, it's like the only time I've heard that was at like a Poke Bowl, and a Poke Bowl is a Hawaiian slash Japanese influence dish where you take a bowl of white rice and you put diced up raw fish like sushi style in a marinade, sometimes with like soy sauce or mayonnaise or seaweed or different spices, like tossed together like a raw fish salad on top of a bed of white rice.
toss that
And
raw fish salad.
that is a yes, and that is a poke bowl. But a poke bowl,
You'll get sick from that, Keith.
I've had many of them. I've never been sick. But actually, and I even went to, there was an amazing place in Hawaii that sold them. It's called Ono Seafood, which Ono means, in Hawaiian, Ono means good. It's O-N-O. It's just funny because you usually would not want to go to a place that sells raw fish called Ono Seafood. Right? Like, usually it sounds like a bad choice. Actually, it was this little hole in the wall, and they literally like caught their own fish, like, butchered them there and did poke bowls. It was $5.50 for this little styrofoam container with white rice, like a whole bunch of like marinated raw tuna on it, and a can of soda. $5.50 for an entire, like, literally, they would sell that in like New York City. That same dish on a plate instead of a styrofoam dish would have been like $20, $25. It's like fresh fish, marinated, seasoned great on white rice. But since it's like raw fish, like cities charge such a premium. But if you go to apparently like an island state where they're just like, I don't know, we have a family boat and we just catch fish and then just like serve it to people, they're like, pay me $5. It's crazy. But that's a Poke Bowl, and you definitely can't defeat Pikachu with it. So
Poke bowl.
Keith,
Poke
it's pronounced
Bowl.
Pokeball.
it's no. I'm gonna.
You're saying it wrong.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
rage quit this podcast. You guys wait.
Pokeball.
No.
You catch Pokemon in it. It's not food, Keith.
Pokeball.
I hate you guys. I hate you guys so
It keeps
much.
gone. It keeps gone.
Yeah. Should I talk about Primate goes bananas?
No, not at all. Let's keep
All
doing. Let's keep doing this.
Let's keep talking about how to pronounce words.
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna look up. I'm just gonna look up videos of UFC fighters breaking their legs and MMA fighters breaking their legs, and I'm just gonna describe them in gory detail for the rest of the episode. And then we're
Oh,
gonna
you
be like,
could see you sidestepped the actual thing you could do, which is send me the videos. You describing them doesn't matter to me.
well, that's the backup though. If I describe them and you're not getting cringy, then I send them. It's kind of like you don't chop off the toe and send it right away. You know, you send a
Yeah, you
threatening
gotta
letter.
work your way up.
You send a threatening letter first, and then you go, "Here you go, Lebowski. Here's a toe." You need, and then your friend Walter goes, "You need a toe? I can get you a toe. You need a toe with nail polish? I can get you one by 3 p.m."
Corey still hasn't seen The Big Lebowski. You're spoiling it for him.
That's not
See,
spoiling.
so here's the thing with movies like that, and I think we've literally had this conversation on this podcast before.
Probably.
The more you guys talk about a movie, the less it makes me want to see it. Sometimes, you know, like not just you guys, but like anytime anybody is like
Keith,
really
I know,
into a
it's
movie. All right, yeah.
Well,
I didn't want to say it. We've been picking on him a lot this episode already.
but at the same time, the Big Lebowski's been out for 23 years. I'm sorry, Corey. You've been alive for 35 years. You had all
False.
34 years and change. You've had the whole 23 years to see that movie. You could have seen it.
Oh, that's the thing. I'm not worried about spoilers. Like that's not what's keeping me from wanting to see it.
That's what I'm saying. Though.
It's
Tom's like,
it's
hey,
the
spoilers.
overhyping that I feel like you guys do for it. That
No, you know what it is? It's nostalgia.
Because-
it's the exact reason why we have this show and we talk about this and how it
Yeah.
affects our individual ratings is that me and Tom saw this show at not a super young age, but I would say I saw this around the middle school to high school transition, somewhere around there, like, 13 to 15. Mm-hmm. And I was already into bowling, which bowling is not a huge part of the movie, but
I thought it was a bowling movie.
no, nope. It's,
Every scene's in a bowling alley.
yeah, kind of, but like, it's not about the bowling, it's about the social interactions that happen. It's like very little parts about the bowling is just a
They
venue.
like the bowl.
It's a venue to tell the story. It's not really about the bowling. But what's funny is that I latched on to the bowling from a young age, and I was like, shit, bowling is cool because look at these crazy guys' lives. These crazy motherfuckers bowl. I want to bowl and be a crazy motherfucker. And bowling itself is kind of boring, but I love doing it still. I mean, I haven't been bowling for a while because, pandemic. But
All right, so here's the thing. I'm about to send you guys a picture, and I want you, when you get it, to describe for our audience what you're seeing.
it better not be a dick pic. I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
Broken leg.
No, but it is relevant to what we were talking about with the Big Lebowski. And one of the things with the Big Lebowski is I don't think I've heard anybody else except for you guys talk about the movie.
You have it. You fucking have it.
No, I can see it from here. Like I didn't have to move to take that picture. Like it's there. It's there. It's in my possession. It's a DVD that's sitting on my shelf.
You know what the problem is? Is that like if me, you, and Tom sat down and watched that movie, me and Tom,
Would love it, and I'd just be like,
well, you would
because I have no nostalgia for it.
You wouldn't. The thing is, it is a good movie. It's a weird movie. It's a good movie. You may like it, but the problem is that the overreaction that will happen from me and Tom watching it will further ruin your like for the movie because we will be waiting for certain iconic scenes to happen, and you will see your excitement, and then when the scene happens, you'll just be like, "That's fucking it."
No,
Like,
you'll look over and I'll be like texting on my phone or something, and you'll be like,
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So it's one of those things like there are certain movies that happen within your lifetime that if you did not see them at an early enough age, you will never be able to build the same nostalgia, I would say, as other people. It's kind of like if you never played, like Tom, Super Mario 3, right?
Yeah.
Me and you, not together, but me and you as children separately, we played that game incessantly. And that is one of my top 10 games of all time, always will be. I fucking love Super Mario 3 because I understand the game, the timing. I've played all of the levels many times. And even though I have not played the game in years, I know that I could pick that game up right now and be fucking good at it. Not as good as I was necessarily, but I could be damn good at that game. And but if you give that game to somebody nowadays, as good as that game was back then, you give that game to somebody nowadays and say, "Play this." They'll play it and they'll go, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yeah.
Like if they've never played it before, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool." It's just
They would.
side scrolling.
Here's the thing: they would relate it to like one of the like the retro style platformers that they have nowadays. That is like harkening back to the days of Mario 3.
Oh, exactly. Something that like got its inspiration from Mario.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, but I like Super Meat Boy better," or whatever
Or Castle Crashers.
platformer they want. Yeah, well, Castle Crashers is
A little
a
bit more
completely different kind of game.
3D. Yeah.
I was trying to think of like a retro style recently released. I like Shantae and the Pirate's Curse better, like something like that. Or it's just like, okay.
Or like, wasn't there a Scott Pilgrim game?
Well, that was a beat 'em up.
Yeah. Oh,
That was like
more of a
River City
beat 'em up.
Ransom.
That's more like a Double Dragon. Yeah.
But to loop back what we were saying about like having that kind of nostalgia, kind of like driving. And in our last episode, we kind of saw that happen with you guys having not watched that episode of the X-Men because it was really obscure, and whereas like that's like one of my favorite cartoons ever. And that kind of scares me a little bit for some of the stuff that I want to watch going forward in this podcast, because I know like neither of you have seen like any Transformers stuff, right?
A little bit.
I like way back in the day, but like I was not. I saw Transformers. I was not.
You weren't into it. Like
Yeah, I
you
wasn't
wouldn't be able to
Right.
you wouldn't be able to name 5 characters kind of thing.
I would struggle. I might be able to hit 5, but I would struggle. I would say, no, I'm not going to try right now because I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
I'd
See,
be like Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, Sonic Scream.
nope.
Oh,
What?
all right.
Starscream.
Starscream. That's
Give you
fine.
half a
Soundwave.
point.
Soundwave. Damn it. So I
Devastator, Rumble, Frenzy.
yeah, it was not my. You know what's funny is that I would say that back in that era, I probably watched Beast Wars more. And
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what's funny though? I don't remember a single name from Beast Wars.
Oh, come on. So I was actually thinking about this because, well, this is going to date the podcast, but at this point, they just released on Netflix the third part of the Transformer series they're coming out with. And it's really good. Like, it's really good. And it has, it's kind of like, the third part is like kind of a crossover between G1 Transformers and Beast Wars. So, even if you just like Beast Wars, it's something you should probably check out.
Yeah,
And you could like knock it out in like 3 nights, like the whole thing,
really.
because like each part of it is like 6 episodes, I think. So last night I literally, or actually it might have been the night before, I literally was like working out in the office and I just like put it on and pretended to work and mostly just watched it, and all of a sudden it was over, and I was just like, wow, that was amazing. But it made me think, like, in the future, because there's, like, a lot of cartoons that I want to do for this show, but they're, like, cartoons I want us to watch together in the same room at a point
Yeah.
when we could actually do that.
Yeah.
Because just like you guys would be looking for my reaction at certain scenes in The Big Lebowski, I would want to see, like, what happens when Stan Bush's Dare comes on in Transformers the movie, because that's, like, a big moment.
Yep.
And I just feel like because you guys have no nostalgia for it, it'll just be like, oh, I guess this is a cool 80s song. And I'll just be like, I'll just be losing my shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. Like, the whole nostalgia thing definitely throws a wrench in the works. I mean, because it is like, nostalgia is what it is. Like, you can't
Yeah.
force nostalgia on other people, but at the same time, it's worth being exposed at this, like, to somebody else's nostalgia piece, and that sounds a little bit.
Sounds so weird.
What?
Please do not show me your nostalgia piece. I'll go to jail.
Ooh.
I mean, it's, I've had it forever, and I really think that you guys would enjoy it.
That's Keith's code word he uses with his wife in front of his kid. You know, he doesn't want his kid to know what he's talking about, so he talks about his nostalgia piece.
My nostalgia piece.
Yeah.
Remember what it used to work?
Not a lot of people have seen it, and not a lot of people appreciate it, but I do.
Hey, honey, you feeling nostalgic tonight? Huh?
That, Tom, as a married man, I will tell you that line will never work. That being said,
Yeah, we should probably talk about Pokemon.
we should probably actually try to cover this episode.
And the thing is, I picked this episode. I remember watching this as a kid. I used to watch Pokemon as a kid all the time. And yes, I know I'm still not pronouncing it right, but just deal with it.
Yep.
But yeah, and we've been going on and on. It almost feels like what was the episode? The last episode Black Butler, where we just, since we had talked about it the week before, but due to technical difficulties, we had to reshoot the episode, and our hearts were just not in it, so we bullshitted for 45 minutes, almost an hour.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
And
is, we rallied.
Oh, we
Yeah,
did.
We rallied.
really
We got
did.
through that.
We rallied strong.
And that's
yeah.
honestly what we need to do now, because we've been
Yes.
we've been bullshitting for about 36, 37 minutes, and we need to
Do some cartoon commentary.
do what our purpose is.
Let's get out our nostalgia pieces. All right. I'll start talking about Primape Goes Bananas, which is Season 1, Episode 24 of Pokemon, however you pronounce it.
Pokemon Indigo League, if you find it on Netflix. It is,
Yes,
is
good
the
point.
original American Pokemon.
Yeah, it gets a little confusing with all the different seasons that are not completely obvious what order they go in, and there's also like some sort of, I think, like movie on Netflix. There's a lot of Pokemon stuff on Netflix.
No, there's a
Yes,
bunch of
there is.
Pokemon movies and Pokemon series. So
and like
this is-
reimaginings or whatever. It's weird.
Yeah, if you find it on Netflix, it is Pokemon Indigo League Season 1, Episode 24, which is funny because if you Google it, it says it's Season 1, Episode 25, but it is, the title of the episode is Primape Goes Bananas.
And I think we...
I wonder, not to interrupt us again, but is that because there was like an episode? I know there were a few episodes early on in Pokemon that got taken off the air, so that might screw up the numbers.
Yeah, so that
Because
might...
I think there's a Porygon episode that had seizures. There was
Yes. Yeah,
a
I
bikini
remember that.
episode where James had boobs.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
So it's probably something in regards to that.
Yeah.
Really? Because Netflix has put some really questionable content up before.
Yeah, but at the same time, they will pull content that isn't actually related to what they're talking. Like,
Or technically, it could be something that like the people that supplied the episodes pulled. So like,
Well,
they
the thing is,
just didn't give it to
if
Netflix.
if it's um if it's the Porygon episode, they just won't air it
yeah, well,
because
that
of the
it makes sense
seizure
because it
issues.
causes seizures for some people.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some kids
Like
could,
it's
it would kill
yes,
them. So
it's
yeah.
a health related issue. It's
Yeah,
not
it makes sense.
Oh,
That
we don't
makes
want to
sense.
show sexualized characters. It's a health issue.
Well,
We don't
no,
want to
it's,
show a
it's,
sexualized polygon.
I mean,
to the
that's the
kids.
problem is that they were so they were so
Ooh, that Porygon.
no, they were so sexualized that it caused seizures. That was the problem.
Anyway, the word you're looking for is anyway.
And
That's
and
usually my
remind me,
phrase.
remind me, Porygon, in the original Pokemon Red and Blue, you got him from that, what was it, like a casino or a game place where you got like tokens or something or tickets? He was one of
I
the
believe so.
yeah. As soon as the name was said, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him. I remember what a pain in the ass it was to get him.
And it was
and-
totally not worth it.
Totally not worth it. And
In Gen 1, he's not that good.
no, and it's funny because earlier today we were sort of texting, and I brought up how I still have my original Pokemon Red game cartridge, the Game Boy game cartridge, and it's in my car right now with my I forgot what Game Boy it is. It's small and it's green, but it's one of the not the original
Game
Game
Boy.
Boys.
Game Boy Pocket.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Like if it's legit green, it's Game Boy Pocket. If it's teal, it's Game Boy Color.
It's green, legit green.
Yeah, so
not
Game Boy
teal.
Pocket.
Yeah, yeah. I used to have an old school bulky, like real Game Boy
Yeah.
that was red. I remember my brother got the very first one that was the original Game Boy, and then when I got mine, I got the all red one, which I
Yeah, the
lost.
Play It Loud series.
Yeah. And anyhow, so yeah, I still have my. So this, I have the. Okay, it's got to be what 26 years old or something, that game, and every time I've had a car, I throw that Game Boy with that cartridge in it in my car in a case of an emergency, and
So-
for entertainment purposes. Yeah.
You don't keep batteries in it, do you?
Yeah, I should
Probably should
go
take
check
those
on
out.
that. Yeah.
You might not have a working Game Boy anymore.
Yeah, probably pop them off. They'll be all nasty and corroded and messed up.
Yeah.
I did use it. I don't know if you remember a couple years back, I was heading down to Virginia and I broke down in Union, New Jersey. And anyhow, I had to have my car, the radiator fans replaced. And while I was waiting, I was actually in the mechanic shop playing the Pokemon Red. And it was like the first time I played in like 12 years. But I just remember being so happy that I had it and thought of having it.
Does your game still save? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Or
wow.
well, last time I played, it still saved.
Yeah, it might not anymore. It's those.
Probably,
a lot of those
yeah.
need to be replaced.
Oh, they have internal batteries in those.
Yeah, it's
All
just
those
it's just a
cartridges,
watch
right?
battery. So I'm pretty sure you know how to weld a little bit, right? So you could
Yeah,
probably
solder.
actually switch it out yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, solder, whatever. Well, same thing.
Get the blowtorch
Well,
out.
welding a battery would probably be a little,
One of those is probably a little overkill.
yeah.
Gotta replace this battery. Gotta
You
get
know
the
how to
plasma
cold,
cut.
you know how to cold fusion this battery, right? Fuck it, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom.
Laser
Check.
focused.
Do the fucking episode, please.
Yeah. All right. I finally got to talk though.
Wait, hold on, hold on. A butterfly is flying by. No, it's not. Tom, do the episode.
Anyhow, so yeah, I was just gonna give a little background information as to why I picked this because as a kid I used to watch this cartoon after school, middle school. I think those were the years, and
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, the whole reason I started watching it was our friend TJ, and this was like 20 something years ago. He came over with his original Pokemon Red, and we had the Game Boy, the Super Game Boy. That's what it's called, right, Corey? You plug it in
Yeah, you play it
the
on the Super Nintendo.
yeah, and I had one of those, and we plugged it in, and he was telling me all about this game, and I had no idea about it. And I remember getting into it, and all of a sudden he fell asleep, and like I stayed up an extra 6 hours, and when he woke up, all his Pokemon were like 20 levels higher. I'd already gotten Snorlax, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" Anyhow, yeah, so Pokemon, awesome. Loved it when I was little. Had the trading cards, all that stuff. I think I even had Pokemon Pogs. Do you remember Pogs?
Oh, I remember Pogs.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I even had Pogs with Pokemon on them at one point. Anyhow, yeah, so I was thinking about Pokemon in general, the series, and I thought, all right, if I'm going to pick an episode to watch, I'm going to pick an episode that confused the shit out of me as a child. Like, I'm 9 years old, and I start watching this episode, and a little happens before this, and we'll really get into it, but they start talking about jelly donuts. And there are no jelly donuts, and it really
Did they
made me
say?
question
I
my
thought they just called
sanity.
them donuts.
Well, they are donuts, but at one point Brock, I think, says jelly are his favorite kind, and he made
Uh,
them. So he says jelly filled donut. That's what my reference was with our
uh,
intro. I am a jelly filled donut. Uh, because, yeah, well, anyhow, so we start this episode with Professor Oak hanging out at his house, drinking tea, being real relaxed, and Ash Ketchum calls him up to brag. And I actually found this pretty funny because, Ash calls him up and he's like, "Oh, look, I got 4 badges," and he's going on and on about how great he is. And then Professor Oak just follows up with, "Oh, well, that's good, but all your rivals have 5 and they're better than you and you suck." In a nice way, but that's more or less what he says to him. And
and
yeah, so
and the
Ash
thing
gets
is,
really
it's
depressed.
all it's all because he overslept by like an hour.
Yes. Yeah, I
Like if you
forgot.
trace it all
Yeah.
back, like he's literally just like an hour behind them. So he really probably does suck compared to them if he's like falling that far behind from 1 hour.
Well, you know what's messed up? So, yeah, he was an hour behind them. So all his rivals have like 20, 30, 40 more Pokemon than him, or they have more badges than him. But somehow he has Charmander, he has a Bulbasaur, and a Pikachu to start off with.
Hmm.
That seems pretty broken to me. He's playing this on easy mode.
Yeah, that's probably like one of my pet peeves with all the Pokemon series is like I'm so sick of him having all the starters every time just because you gotta market the starters and all the
Mm-hmm.
like it's just so annoying because I remember like one of my favorite aspects of this show, because I guess I'll give a little backstory on my Pokemon upbringing, but I was super into Pokemon before it even came out over here because I was getting all the Nintendo powers that would hype it up, and they had all the like little inserts for the Pokemon. Uh, it was like a comic book, but it also like would give a whole bunch of information. So I had like favorite Pokemon before the games even came out. As
Mm.
I'm sitting here, I'm looking up at the uh, the promo poster that used to hang in the KB Toy Works in Southington because my mom worked there back then, so we snagged that really
That's
quick.
that's a deep cut.
It's baller as fuck. I've had like some ridiculous offers on it, and I also have the one
And
from the Crystal version
and
for
you
Game Boy
literally
Color.
just shank those people and just kick them to the street. It's like,
Yeah, like
yeah, fuck you.
it's like the amount someone would have to give me is unthinkable at this
Yeah.
point. Just because it's like such a nostalgic thing for me. I was so happy to get it when we got it, and I was so ridiculously into Pokemon. I had the game day one.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I didn't really understand how the proper way to play a Pokemon game. So of course I have a level 100 Charizard with like no one else that could do anything because I didn't have any aspect of I should level up other
Wait,
Pokemon.
why would you have a level 100 Charizard? You don't need anyone else. You just
That's true, but that's
all your eggs
not
in one basket.
that's not the fun way to play Pokemon in my opinion. Like,
True.
and I know that now, but back then I didn't know any better.
I mean, the fact that you beat the game, right? You beat it with a level.
Actually, I didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I never beat the original Pokemon. I beat Fire Red or Leaf Green back when they re-released them, but I never beat it because I had gotten to a point in the game where it was just like I was also a young kid. I didn't want to like actually go through all the work of leveling up other Pokemon who
grinding.
couldn't really fight for themselves because you had to do like the swap training back in the day.
You'd have to go back to like a way lesser area and use those Pokemon and swap out the Charizard and like at that point like you had probably no hope. Like at the end of the game, no matter how good your end Pokemon was stat wise and everything, like you couldn't win a full battle using a single Pokemon.
Yeah, plus it was also kind of weird because Pokemon was so new back then, obviously.
Yep.
So I don't know how this worked because I think you guys went to a different middle school, but in middle school no one talked about Pokemon
Okay, see.
because we were kind of at an age where it was just like everybody's
It was not cool.
a little old for it, question mark, like no one was quite sure like where it fell age range wise.
Which is weird though, because honestly, like I feel like 10 to 15 years later, like high school kids were playing Pokemon, and I was just like, shit. I was embarrassed about playing this in seventh grade.
Yeah, you guys went to the other middle school because my middle school, it was such a big thing that my middle school actually outlawed. Like, you weren't allowed to bring Pokemon cards or wear any Pokemon related shit. They would send you to the office
Really?
and
Oh,
confiscate.
wow.
Yeah, because it became crazy.
Corey,
Yeah.
you hear that? We went to the wrong middle. Yeah, no, Corey, me and you went to the same. We went to DePaulo.
Yeah.
was-
Well, I didn't really talk to you until high school.
That's
so.
true. Yeah, I didn't know you existed until high school. We weren't in any of the same classes.
No, I was in all the dumb classes. Keith was in the smart classes.
Were there?
I
was there
pretended
a divide in middle
there
school?
was.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, in middle school there were teams,
Oh.
so there was that. I don't know how that
Oh,
worked.
you're in
but-
the blue team or the silver team.
Yeah, it's that stupid shit. And you also played saxophone. I played trumpet, so you didn't really
that's true.
commingle in the band.
No, you didn't. Because when we played, there was like 16 kids that played saxophone, and
Way
was-
too many saxophones.
yeah, way too
Good
many.
lord.
I mean,
we had 3 trumpets and 2 of them didn't know how to play the damn thing.
Was one of them Nate? No,
I was
Nate in the
yeah.
other school,
No,
or-
one of them was Nate and one of them was me.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Nate.
So you had three trumpets and 2 didn't know how to play, which was you and Nate.
Exactly.
So, the third one must have been Matt. Matt.
I
I'm
don't know.
not gonna say his last name because the band teacher was his father, and that's the
Oh.
only reason why he knew how to play.
I don't think I knew that back then. Or
Yeah,
ever.
you
I think
probably
I
didn't.
learned that just now.
I didn't know that until high
too.
school, and I was like, "Holy shit! That's why you're good at trumpet because your father's a music fucking teacher."
And he's standing right there.
Yeah, and exactly. You're in that grade, so you better be first fucking chair. Good thing that the only competition was Nate and Corey.
And I only pretended to play. Like when they would do like do your scales, I would just be like, do you really want me to? Like it's not gonna be good. Like I can't do it.
You're like enough.
Like-
The other people are making enough noise. I can just pass here. I'm gonna pretend.
I literally only stayed in the band because in middle school there was a field trip that supposedly in 8th grade everybody in the band goes on this field trip to New York to see like some sort of musical. And when we got to 8th grade, they opened it up to the entire damn class. So being in the band meant literally nothing.
Yep.
But anyway, we're talking
Yeah.
about Pokemon.
Yeah, so Professor Oak explains to Ash that he needs to get his ass into gear and catch some more Pokemon because, as he explains, with his poetry, because Professor Oak does poetry, that you gotta have good rhymes to make good poetry, so you gotta catch more Pokemon. That's logic right
Well,
there,
and
fellas.
and Gary is ahead of him. Whoever
Yeah,
Gary
and
is. Gary,
uh, whoa. We know who Gary is. Gary is Professor Oak's grandson.
Yep.
Oh, and Ash
Yep.
is just some kid that Professor Oak
It's his
likes.
neighbor. I think they're neighbors, right? And Professor Oak is
Yeah,
banging Ash's mom.
that's
So
the common thought. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Professor Oak basically turns to him and goes, "Oh, you got 4 badges? And that's it? And Gary has 5. Everybody else has 5. Everybody has 5 badges except for you. Gary's captured 30 Pokemon.
Yeah, by the way, Gary's better than you
Yeah. You
in
know,
every way possible.
Gary's just a Pokemon catching machine, and you're Ash Ketchum, and you're not catching them.
How
One
embarrassing.
thing, one thing that they never really delve into or bring up is I think most of the times you see Gary in the cartoon, he's like being driven around in a car with a whole bunch of like girls as his cheering section. Of course he's ahead of you.
Yeah, he's a rich kid.
He's got a goddamn car. You're
Yeah,
walking.
yeah, he's got an entourage. Like he probably has
Yeah.
other people catching Pokemon for him and just
Yeah.
delivering them to him. This is the tale of the 1% versus the 99%.
Yeah. But yeah, eventually they get off the phone and Ash is very you know, sad because he realized he's pretty pathetic and he sucks and he needs to set his alarm an hour earlier. But yeah, and we cut to Ash walking back to our group of what would you call them? His entourage, his
His team.
followers, like
They're
His
team.
friends.
yeah. Well, they were former what gym leaders, right?
Well, Brock is. Misty
Brocas.
is in a family that has 3 other sisters that are gym leaders, and she only happened to be a gym leader because they had already been beaten by all the other people from Pallet Town that day that they showed up.
That's
I mean,
it.
in the game, she's a gym leader, but if we're just
Well,
talking about the anime.
yeah, this is what I found kind of interesting. After this whole Professor Oak conversation about how much Ash sucks, we also have to remember Ash's followers include 2 of the gym leaders that he got badges from. Gary doesn't have gym leaders go, you know what? You beat me so hard, I'm going to quit my way of life and follow you around. Yeah, Gary doesn't do that. So, but yeah, so anyhow, Ash is walking back sad, and Misty's sitting there eating what is clearly not a donut. Clearly not a donut. But as she's talking, oh Ash, you're pretty depressed. You know what'll cheer you up? A donut. And
And
that's when
she goes to hand him a rice ball.
yes, this is a rice ball, and I remember being a little kid watching this, thinking, is that what a jelly donut was? Because back then, I liked plain glazed donuts or like the chocolate glazed donuts. I didn't
Yeah.
didn't venture with any of the other kind of donuts
It's
yet.
because jelly donuts suck.
Yeah. Well, now I know. But back then, I thought they must have really sucked because they looked like they were made of rice and seaweed. But yeah, so they proceed to have a whole conversation about how much they all like how much they like donuts, and how Brock made these donuts, and how they're his favorite, and they're jelly filled, and
It's
blah
his
blah
own
blah.
special recipe.
Yeah, and it's mind numbing because they say the words donut or the word donut like every other every
Honestly,
other
I
word.
honestly I almost thought it was like a cupcake at first. Like the way that they handed because it looked like there was like potentially frosting on top with a cherry in the middle. Granted, it was like a almost like a hole in the middle with the cherry. Like it was weird. It was
I thought
weird.
that was jelly when I was little.
Yeah, a jelly or a cherry, but like it looked like frosting. But like I totally agree with the rice ball synopsis. Is that like my first watching of it though? I was just like, are those are but those are cupcakes, and I was like, no, those aren't even cupcakes. What are these? Like I was just like, because I immediately went to a different dessert because I was like, well, they're definitely not donuts. Maybe they're cupcakes. And I was like, no, they're not cupcakes either. What the fuck are
Yeah.
they? Like, what's what's wrong with these? And then Brock was like, oh, it's my secret recipe, or my he was like, it's my own special recipe. And I'm like, oh, your special donut recipe is don't give them a donut. Like that's, hey, guess what? The recipe, fucking rice. You guys want a great donut? I make it with rice. Awesome. Like, I don't. I'm like just so upset about Brock offering rice balls and being like, here's a donut. And then nobody calling him out on it. They're just like, yeah, this is great, Brock, you fucking crazy psycho.
The thing is, like, I don't know. I've never watched Pokemon, well, subtitled, like with the original Japanese. So I don't know how often they like change the dialogue to just like talk about something else, but I'm pretty sure they could have just talked about pretty much anything else and just had it be while they're eating some rice and just don't talk about the rice ball. Just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Be like,
Yeah.
hey, would you like some food, Ash? Here's some food. Or call it a rice ball. That would
Yeah,
be
what-
okay too.
What's so offensive to us Americans about eating rice balls? Like,
Well-
what?
So this is going to be kind of a deep dive. But back, not so much in like 98, but like a lot earlier in the 90s, like you had a lot of things that would come from Japan that we would get like a dumbed down version. Like there was a lot of NES games that would be like translated over and we would get like a dumbed down version because, oh, dumb Americans can't, figure this out, not as good at games, not,
Yeah.
so like like that's why we got Doki Doki Panic as Super Mario Brothers 2 instead of the actual Super Mario Brothers 2 because what we know as the lost levels was too difficult for dumb Americans. So that, and they didn't want the exact same art style, basically twice in a row. They wanted it to look newer, fresher, clean kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it might have been something like that where it's just like, well, we don't have rice balls in America, so we can't call them rice balls, even though we've never stated that, Pokemon is in America. God forbid we actually have something from the country that, it's originating from.
So I have the answer.
Give it.
I googled
What
it,
is it?
and basically in the Pokemon, correct pronunciation, anime, Brock very infamously refers to his rice balls as jelly-filled donuts in English dubbing. And this is, well, it's inspired some humorous attempts to make donuts that look like onigiri. Onigiri are not necessarily always in a ball shape. Traditionally, and I've made these actually before, so surprisingly, unsurprisingly, they're in a like rounded triangle shape, and sometimes you wrap seaweed around them in like in a U shape on the bottom side. But you usually stuff them with either like a tuna or pork mixture. So it is I mean, because Japanese culture probably doesn't have like a jelly donut equivalent. It's like there's snack food that you pick up from a like a small shop or street vendor would be like an onigiri which is stuffed with something. So it's kind of like a jelly donut in that aspect. And I feel like they were just really fucking stretching it, where they're like, oh, here's this rice ball that's probably stuffed with like tuna or pork. We're going to call it a jelly donut because Americans are dumb.
Yeah. Well, it just was sort of mind-boggling hearing the word donut over and over again when there was no donuts there. But eventually, Brock starts talking with Ash, and it says something that I remember thinking to myself, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense because Brock is a gym leader, former gym leader, so he knows what he's talking about. This guy's a professional. He says to Ash, it's all about quality over quantity with Pokemon to help you become a champ. Whereas like Professor Oak is like, no, you have to catch as many as possible. That's what makes you a master. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I think I trust Brock a little more. As soon as he says that, Ash goes, okay, I got it. I just gotta catch as many as possible. I'm like, no, that's not what Brock said, you dick.
Well, the thing is, and I don't remember this specifically, but in the games, the professor gives you the Pokedex because he wants you to go out and fill out the Pokedex.
Yeah.
So
Get all
if
the information.
he,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the exact same premise in the show, because if it is, Ash is doing a fucking terrible job.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think it is the same premise, though, is the professor wants Ash to catch as many as possible so the professor can study as many as possible. Whereas Ash is like following Brock's advice, where he's like, no, like, I'm being selective and catching the best temperament or the most powerful or whatever. And Ash is actually building out a team that will help him, you know, achieve world domination and
Yeah, and then in the same season, he's in an episode that I also think got pulled for gun reasons. He goes and catches 30 Tauros
wait,
for whatever reason in the Safari Zone episode.
what
Oh,
Tauros?
yeah.
It's the bull Pokemon.
Yeah, no, I know Tauros, but what did you say? What?
He
Tauros?
catches 30 of them.
Oh, 30.
30. The quantity 30.
God damn. That's a,
Yeah.
like, is he gonna bullfight? Like,
Like he basically catches 30 and then he sends them all to Professor Oak. So for a few episodes,
is,
and if you're following along when this was coming out, or maybe after the fact, I don't remember if they showed the episode originally and then pulled it, or if it just never made it to air in the United States, because it's a Safari Zone episode, and the person in charge of the Safari Zone on the show is constantly like pointing a gun at people.
God damn. That's, I mean, I'm still reeling at 30 Tauros because I'm like, what does Professor need those for? Is he doing his own bullfights?
Well, he ends up having like a whole ranch of Tauros because of it. Because in the show, the professor doesn't just like store them and keep them in Pokeballs. He like lets them out and they just like take over his house practically.
Yeah, but
Free
why-
range,
but
free
why does-
range
But why does he?
Pokemon.
But why does he want 30 Tauros? Like, if Ash catch 30 Tauros, the professor must have wanted them. Like, there's no reason Ash would
Well,
just
no.
be like. Ash would be like normally. Oh, I have one of these. I'm good. I'm chill. Instead, he caught 30 of them, being like, oh. You know what? The professor's quota this month on the drug ring is 30 fucking Tauros. Like, he's indebted to the Spanish government, and they're looking to do the bull run sooner this year. So, I just feel like there's another objective here. Like, I've never heard of Ash catching that many of a single Pokemon. Like, this is conspiracy level shit.
Yeah, I'm also confused too. In the Pokemon world, are all animals Pokemon, or are
I'm pretty sure. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever seen anybody just have a cat.
Yeah.
It's always some sort of cat Pokemon like Meowth, Persian.
Yeah,
So,
no-
like, when they're eating steak or burgers,
no.
that's what I was wondering, like, where they getting this meat from?
You're like, man, no.
Miltanks.
Everybody eats fish because Magikarp is fucking bullshit. They don't realize it evolves into a Gyarados. So everybody eats fish, and that's why there's like really few Gyarados around. You know,
Yeah.
that makes perfect
Well, the
sense.
thing is, from what I've heard, like you wouldn't even want to eat a Magikarp because it's like all scales and bone.
Yeah, I mean, carp as a fish.
There's like no good meat in there.
Yeah, carp, like regular carp as a fish, is not a good eating fish. But, damn. So think of a Pokemon you like to eat. Ready? You get 10 seconds. Think of a Pokemon that you'd want to eat. I don't have a lot of knowledge in this, so I'm gonna call on
got
you guys.
one.
Go first. 10, 9, 8. Okay, Tom, go.
Mr. Mime.
Oh god,
Oh no. So Tom,
Tom's a cannibal.
you're not choosing that for flavor. You're choosing that out of hate.
Well, yeah. I'm not gonna.
He's like,
not-
no.
Yeah.
If I eat one Mr. Mime, that's one less Mr. Mime that's walking the fuck around.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, Corey, are you ready?
Yeah, I was just gonna go with Miltank because it's basically just a cow.
Oh God. All right. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That and when you face Miltank against Whitney, and I forget whatever generation it is, it's like literally one of the hardest gym battles in the game. So fuck that Pokemon.
Yeah. I get it. I was gonna honestly choose Snorlax because
Oh, fuck you.
what?
That's my favorite Pokemon.
No, I mean he's
Not eating Snorlax.
he's great, but if you look at how you
It's all fat.
yes, that's exactly the reason.
That's
do you,
not
do you,
what you don't.
do you
Do you
realize?
like your steak fat?
Listen, do you realize when they raise animals, the less they move, the more intramuscular fat that they have. So you don't eat the fat, you carve that out, you eat the muscle. And the muscle has a lot of intramuscular fat, which is like the soft fat that like melts away when you cook it and makes it more flavorful. So granted, there would be a lot of waste with the Snorlax because it is encased in fat, but the muscle that it has would probably be the most flavorful from a culinary perspective.
I almost feel like our goal with this podcast today is to traumatize people. Talking about broken limbs, eating Pokemon, Pokemon
Fine.
is dog fighting.
Fine, you know what? Shit,
Jesus.
I'd eat a Charmander because it's probably spicy. How about that?
I'd prefer that than the Snorlax. That was
I
horrifying.
went a little too deep into intramuscular fat.
Hello, dear listeners. It's your old pal Tom here, real quick to ask for your assistance in helping us grow the podcast by leaving us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Also, if you enjoy the show, or at least Keith hasn't offended you yet, why not share it with your pals and family? All right, so Mankey appears, and I think it's Misty offers him a donut, which is really a rice ball, just being nice. And Ash gets it into his head that he's going to be the greatest Pokemon master in the universe, and he's going to start by catching Mankey without actually battling him or wearing him down. So he goes and hucks a Pokeball at him, and Mankey counters that by throwing a jelly donut at it, and Ash catches himself a jelly donut, which is a rice ball,
Which he
And,
doesn't
hey,
eat, by the way.
Wait a few generations, and that probably would be a Pokemon.
Onigiri-mon.
Onigiri-mon.
Once you get to black and white, things get weird.
Oh, God.
It's like, here's garbage, the Pokemon.
It's like,
Yeah.
they're clearly just running out of material. They're like, oh, it's Lampmon.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
literally.
this is
Yeah.
Deskmon and Shoemon and Carmon.
Yep. But yeah. So during all this, Mankey gets pissed and decides to beat up Ash a little and steal his hat. And that's when Ash makes a big deal about this hat. I remember when I watched this, and they're going on and on about how special this hat was. I was trying to remember back in the game. I'm like, was there anything to do with his hat in the game? Like, why are they making the hat such an important point? Because
Well, you
they,
don't play. You don't play as Ash in the game.
you don't.
No, you play as you.
Yeah.
Whoever you want to be. Ash
yeah.
and so canonically, you play as Red. And Red is very specifically different from Ash. Red is competent. Red actually can become the champion. So Ash and Red have always been different. It's just they give you the option to name your character Ash just because, well, some people will think of the character as Ash, so they'll. But like,
Okay.
if you look at the manga, Pokemon Adventures, like Red and Ash are very specifically different characters.
Didn't know that. Okay. Good to know.
That's why I'm a Pokemon master, Tom.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Where were we? Oh, yeah.
Checks
So
out.
Mankey steals this hat, and they make a big deal about how, these hats are super rare, super special, and it took Ash a ton of postcards to get one, which I guess sending postcards
limited
into
edition.
places.
Literally, he said he sent in 1 million.
Yeah.
Which is concerning because he would have had to hire a third-party mailing company. He would have had a huge expense. I mean, postcards, nowadays are 50-something cents. Even back then would have been 30 to 40-something cents. So 1 million of them would have been a butt ton of money for this hat.
Yeah.
That expense alone, like the postage alone on 1 million, I can understand why he wants his hat back, because if his
Yeah.
parents fronted him that money, this is the lifelong hat. And
I bet you that's why his parents broke up.
no, it's
The
true.
stress of Ash when he stole the parents' credit cards to buy all these postcards and postage stamps.
His mom was like, "I'll hang around." His dad was like, "Fuck you guys,
Yeah.
fuck you guys." So
And-
what's weird though is that, so when he loses that hat, Brock turns to him. Am I skipping ahead?
Nope.
All right. So Brock turns to him and goes, "Yeah, losing your favorite hat is like losing your best friend."
Yes.
I'm just like, what?
Yep.
What are they trying to teach about friendship?
Brock doesn't wear hats.
Yeah.
That's,
Which this is what I love, because immediately after this, Team Rocket shows up to do as they usually do, try to steal Pikachu away. But I love it because after you just pointed out, Brock explains, yeah, losing a hat like that is like losing your best friend or a loved one. Team Rocket appears and they're like, hey, can you just give us a break today? The man just lost his hat. And I'm like, yeah, it's like losing your best friend or a loved one, you fucks. How cruel can you be, Team Rocket? But yeah, I think I'm going to use that as an excuse from now on. When I need to get out of something, I'm going to be like, I just lost my hat. Cut me a break. I'm not coming to work today. I just lost my hat.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I can't make it. I just lost my hat.
Oh shit.
I can't. I just can't deal with it.
Take as much time as you need, man.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I know
Cool,
what it's
thanks.
like. I know what it's
It's like
like.
losing
is-
your best friend.
You gotta realize as soon as you say like, okay, man, take as much time as you need, I'll be like, cool, dude, bye.
Yeah. So, yeah. while they're talking about the hat to Team Rocket, Mankey appears, and I don't know if you guys noticed this. Like as a child, it didn't occur to me, but as an adult, when Mankey appears to Team Rocket, he just casually teabags them all. Did you notice that? Like he just jumps up and puts his crotch in all their faces until James just turns to him and hauls off and kicks him in the balls and sends him flying.
Yeah, Mickey has control issues.
Yeah, and like at first I'm thinking, remembering as a kid, I'm like, yeah, James kicked him, and that was so mean. Team Rocket, they're the bad guys. But now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, if a monkey just stuck his scrotum in my face, I would feel a little compelled to defend myself by kicking this monkey to get him away from me because, it's not cool being sexually assaulted by a monkey. But that's just my opinion.
I mean,
guess. Don't all agree with me.
I mean, I would not. That's not an event that I would do in order to achieve coolness. You're correct. I would say it's at least awkward. And
You'll never get ahead at school without letting a monkey teabag you, Keith.
Yeah,
That's how you achieve coolness.
If somebody got that on video, that's pretty bad. But it's slightly violating.
And the more you know.
I mean, granted, like a monkey is, it's an animal doing animal things. It's it's not like your best friend was like, "Hey, bro, what's up?" and threw his balls in your face. Like that's.
Oh my God,
it's a monkey. It's not.
So Keith just got a preview for when we were finally able to meet up.
Oh no! when we finally see each other post COVID, everybody just throws their balls at everybody.
Don't be sitting down, Keith. I can't jump that high.
Wait. Did everybody's balls get like super stretchy during COVID? Was that a side effect? Where everybody could just throw like those.
I could use mine like a grappling hook and just like sling it up around a tree and swing on it.
You remember those quarter vending machines that had like the sticky hands things that you got? Like
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like unfortunately
on a sweaty day.
Post COVID, on a sweaty, hot day, everybody's balls work exactly like that. So
you see that dollar over there on the ground? I can pick it up with my balls.
Exactly.
6 feet away.
Flap. So this is the
You
thing.
just see them peeling off the
just
ground with
imagining-
that dollar bill.
Is that why some people opt, instead of wearing face masks, they wear those face shields? They wear the face shields because that was
to protect from balls flying at their face.
Yeah.
the sticky balls.
Yeah, let's just be very accurate here. The facial coverings, facial masks will not protect you from sticky balls.
No.
But face shields will.
Yeah. This is nobody's gonna listen to our podcast.
The more you know.
Like literally, honestly, the thing is, I was honestly worried with earlier episodes. I was like, shit, my job is probably in danger. Just the shit that I have said mainly, and then some of the shit that you guys have just corroborated with me, but it's mainly me. But at the same time, nobody's gonna listen to this because we're just talking about balls.
Dicks and balls and
We're literally trying to talk about Pokemon, and we can't.
Yeah.
We keep on talking about balls.
I want to imagine a future where Keith is called into the office and his boss is just like, Keith, can you explain this? And there's just like this little recording device on the table and he hits play and it starts off, "What's up, internet?" And he's just like, "Oh my God, I can explain. And he's been hauled off by security.
Well, you know what's funny is that like my boss works in Iowa and I work in Connecticut. Not to really dox the shit out of myself, but Yeah, so like it would more so be like my boss calls me up on the phone and just goes, "What the fuck is this shit, Keith?" and then plays a recording into the phone.
Yeah.
It's not even as dramatic as going into the. That's the thing is, I could never go into my boss's office, and especially, God, I hate that I keep on referencing the pandemic in this episode, but yeah, it's happening. Let's just acknowledge it. It's still here. I don't know. There's variants or what. We're vaccinated, but we're recording separately because that's what we're doing from the beginning, and it's just easier at this point. And
I don't even think we would know how to record in the same room
together
right
we
now.
wouldn't. No,
Yeah.
we don't have the correct
Yeah.
setup. We don't actually have the correct setup. So we're recording separately, kind of on purpose. But honestly, so go back to it. If my boss had a problem with me, it would be very interesting because he'd have to like over the phone, on like a video call and like Skype on my work computer, he'd just be like, Keith, I'm disappointed with you. Listen to this half-ass shit that you put together where you talked about dicks too much.
Well, Keith, that's when you go, oh yeah, watch this. You pull $1 out of your wallet, you put it on the table 6 feet away from you while you got your Zoom meeting going, and you whip out your balls, and you slap them across the table, and you catch that dollar bill, and you whip it back at yourself.
I was about to say, why was the dollar bill there? And you know, I realized that is a skill that I could add to a job resume. Like,
Yeah. You're welcome.
It's basically an extra appendage that you didn't think that was advantageous until the stickiness set in. Apparently,
You know, speaking about balls,
Yeah.
did I ever tell you how once James kicked Mankey in the balls, he went flying, and it got him so angry he evolved into a Primape?
it's true. I mean, the
Oh
balls
man, do I evolve if I get kicked in the balls? I've actually never been kicked in the balls before.
you've never been kicked
Really?
in the balls.
Yeah, I got good ball defense.
Goddamn.
Wow.
I've gotten
I mean-
kicked. I've gotten tapped. I've gotten. It's like not many times, but I've gotten the brunt, and it is. I would tell you right now. It's not
Rent
fun.
don't buy.
It is not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking, there's been times where I've been like, I was just thinking there was a time I was at the lab and I was carrying a bunch of equipment. I had to do some
Wait.
wire work.
The other scientists kick you in the balls.
Yes, that's where I was going with this. The other scientist decided to kick me in the balls, so I knew
It's
what
like,
it felt like.
"Hey, Tom's
and his
ca-
shoe got stuck to him.
Tom's carrying something heavy. Quick, kick him in the balls.
And that's how he broke his back.
Yep. But
Shit,
no,
Tom, I'm glad that I know the true story now.
I was holding, I think, like a soldering iron and a couple things, and anyhow, I had my arms full, and like something that was on a cord fell out of my arm, and kind of as it fell down, it swung forward, and it just smacked me perfectly in the balls, and it was like just enough, so I knew it wasn't like somebody hauled off and kicked me, but it was enough where I knew in like 5 seconds I was gonna be hurting bad. And I'm like, I had to brace myself. I just immediately put everything down on the table, grabbed the table. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I evolved into a Primape.
Yeah, checks out.
Yep. But yeah.
I'm
so Mankey-
still afraid of your thrash.
Which I do want to give credit to the Pokemon, the creators of the show. They do a good job actually naming real moves or techniques that Pokemon use in the game. They use in the show, and they explain it. And
Yeah,
I
but
remember,
they're pretty extreme on their explanations too. At the same time,
yeah. But I remember as a kid playing the game, you know, and having a Primeape, and like having Thrash as an option to use, and I didn't really understand like Thrash. I I thought it was a regular. You just went and attacked. I didn't realize. Oh, they keep attacking over and over. I, the show helped me as a kid, Keith. What I'm saying is the show helped me understand how to play Pokemon and how to use my scrotum.
There you go.
Oh,
Yep.
So let's speedline this episode because we are
he always
failing.
says speed line when
Speed
it's
line,
speed run.
yeah.
Yeah,
Speed
no,
run.
Speed line.
Are you
Oh.
talking about like snorting this episode, Keith?
Tom,
We make this joke every time he
Tom-
says speed line.
Tom, I've been
know.
trying to tell you to snort some coke and do this episode, and
Yeah.
you keep failing to heed my.
Okay, fine. Here we go. So Mankey
No,
evolves
no.
after getting kicked in the balls. He beats the shit out of Team Rocket.
You didn't snort. You didn't snort the coke first, Tom. It's, you know. You gotta
I-
snort, Tom. You gotta snort
It's
the
a
coke
Keith.
first.
Keith, the Coke's over on that table. How am I supposed to reach it from here? Oh wait.
Use your balls. Use your balls.
Back. Got it.
How heavy was that cocaine?
Pretty heavy.
Oh man,
Jesus.
that must have been a half a key. This.
Good thing for this pandemic. You know, without it, my balls wouldn't be so stretchy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
sticky. I
And
mean,
sticky.
Tom hasn't showered in like a year, so they are stretchy, hot, and sticky. They're just like, this is canon. I said it, so this is a thing. He's got the half kilo of coke. Tom, do a rip, and then rip through this episode.
I was just thinking, I probably could have been done with the episode by now if we didn't go on these tangents.
No, it's mostly
Oh,
you.
definitely.
It's mostly
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so Mankey or Primape now beats the shit out of Team Rocket. Let's see. During the fight, the others try to flee. I remember they keep telling everyone, don't make eye contact with Primape. Don't make eye contact. And then there's like this extended scene where Pikachu's trying to not make eye contact.
He keeps
But-
looking at his crotch.
I know. I'm like, why? Why are we so fixated on Primate's balls this episode?
I mean, but the thing is, at the same time, Pikachu's like, oh, no, I can't stare at his eyes. You know what? Stare at his crotch.
Yeah, it was a really weird POV.
He's like, there's nothing there. So I'm looking up a little. Nope, don't do it. I'm looking up a little bit. No, don't do it.
bobbing his head
He's-
up and down in
Yeah,
front
and
of
he's- and
Primape's crotch.
Eventually, he looks at the eyes.
And then Primape gets all excited, puts Ash's hat back on, and Team Rocket runs ahead, digs up a hole into the ground because they're going to catch Ash that way, I guess. And Ash and they all fall on top of Team Rocket while they're digging
Are
the
they
hole,
trying to
right?
catch Ash or catch Primape? I don't know what their goal is.
I
Honestly.
think they wanted to catch Ash because they want to catch Pikachu. Because eventually they fall in and you know, I remember thinking like, why does Team Rocket think this was a clever plan? Now they're all trapped in a hole and Pikachu's just gonna zap the shit out of them like he does every time. But anyhow,
That's what
Primeape
happens.
appears and I forgot, did he get shocked with them all?
Oh
Or
yeah,
did
no. Ash tells Pikachu to basically like Thunderbolt or whatever, and or Thunder Shock, and shocks everyone, including Ash. And Ash is just like, oh, not me. And then Primeape shows up at the edge of the hole that they dug, and is just like, oh, fresh meat, huh? And then.
Like the butcher from Diablo.
Exactly. He's like fresh meat. So Ash climbs out of the hole, and then Ash and Primeape kind of like confront each other. Like Ash climbs out of the hole, he confronts Primeape, and he's just like, no. And he calls out to his friends, he's just like, and they're like, run. And he's like, no. A true Pokemon master would never run from a. He would catch every Pokemon that he's like being super just fucking elitist.
Yep. I
He
can corroborate all of that as a Pokemon master.
Yeah. And I was gonna say he flashes back to Professor Oak explaining all this to him too. So yeah.
But
He's
like
totally
But like he's I mean, can I? Do you want to go through the lineup here, or can I go through it? Like,
Oh, by all means, continue.
I mean, so he's like, he throws out Squirtle, and he's like, Squirtle, wet his head.
Cool off that hot head.
I'm like, he threw out Squirtle just to literally get him wet. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's gonna throw out Pikachu to like electrocute him after he's wet. And then he throws out Bulbasaur.
No, that would make too much sense.
Yeah, he throws out Bulbasaur and he goes, Razor Leaf. And it's like, okay, like, I'm sure that does. Razor Leaf sounds dangerous, like Razor. It sounds dangerous, but like Mankey's mostly fur.
It's like
so
paper cuts.
Yeah, you just give him a
Yeah.
haircut at that point. So, okay, and it doesn't look hurt. And then Charmander. All right, Charmander. And Charmander uses fire. And I'm like, yeah, fire hurts.
So
But misses.
so this is part of why I always pick the fire starter, because they just sound like fire starters don't fuck around. you got water gun, razor leaf, and then goddamn flamethrower.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Flamethrower-
technically you got ember, but they never use that in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
But this Charmander's got flamethrower and rage. That's just
Yep.
that's just vicious.
Well, so
Well,
that's
rage kind of sucks, but
Well,
that's,
it sounds badass.
in the show,
when you have a
show,
flamethrower.
it's good.
Yeah. Hey, it's how they won this fight, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Which made me think rage was good, but I never used it in the game.
Well, that's why I had fire spin on my Charizard in the game, because he uses it in the show and it looks so cool, and then in the game it's just like, wow. So at like level 50, you're doing like 10 damage. Ugh.
so Charmander tries to hit him with some ember or whatever, and then Charmander gets beat the fuck up, but they let you know that Charmander, as he gets beat more the fuck up, he gets more powerful. So it's kind of like,
He's a Saiyan.
yeah, kind of like Saiyan's a dragon. Like the more you
I
get,
thought you were
get
saying he's a
close-
sadist.
As long as you didn't go, as long as you don't get outright killed, as long as you get just close to death, apparently, Charmanders are just like Saiyans, where they just become superhuman. And he basically did a super powered flamethrower and just like knocks out, like he just totally barbecues Primape.
So he's either a Saiyan or he's a character in Final Fantasy 2. Gotta get down to 1 HP and then heal up.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it's a fucking terrible game, though.
Okay. So
You know what's the most obnoxious thing ever, though? After this fight, and Charmander at this point beats Primeape, he follows this. The fight is followed up with Ash going, "Good work, Charmander. I'll take over from here." And it's like, bitch, what have you done? You just you literally sat here and let all your slaves beat up a wild animal.
yeah.
I don't know. That's the way I just remember like hearing Ash. "Oh, I'll take it from here." I'm like, Ash, shut the hell up! Don't you kill Steel from Charmander?
It's not like he's gonna go finish him off. He just wants to throw a Pokeball at him.
I
the
know,
thing is-
but still, it's
Oh no! Honestly,
Bullshit.
finishing him off would be probably better. He's like, instead, it's like indentured servitude, where you're forced to be my friend.
yep. Yeah.
See, the problem with like putting that kind of lens to Pokemon is not fun.
Well,
I know
that's-
it ruins it.
It's not fun because you know what? Every time I go to the animal store and I go to buy a dog, if I go, I would like to
animal
buy
store.
this dog, but first, before I buy this dog, I'm going to kick the shit out of it. I'm going to beat it with an inch of its life. And then I will buy this dog. That doesn't work. I'm sorry, because you know what?
And
They
it will
tell
be
you-
so loyal to me after I do this.
Yeah, exactly. And you expect that loyalty because you saved them from your own kicking. And and the store owners, they just go, "Sir, excuse me, we're calling the police. You cannot do that." And it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. It is. They are not, and no matter how many Pokeballs you throw at the store owners and the cashiers, they just do not listen to you. It's honestly, it's a giant mess.
I just imagine when you're in court that your defense will be, of course, you're pleading insanity, but like if they pull you to the stand and they ask you what were you thinking, you'd have to start reciting
I was catching Pokemon.
I want to be the very best. Like no one ever was.
Honestly,
catch
I
them.
think that would be a solid defense. If you in that instance, if you well, only if the judge and jurors were Pokemon fans. That's the only way that would work.
I feel like there's no way you make it to the end of the song without someone at least like singing along a little bit.
Yeah, if I was in the jury, I would end up singing along
Or
with
someone like in just like,
Train them
the
is
viewer
my
stance.
cause.
Cause
Dude,
Pokemon.
I meant to say in the beginning of this episode, and I haven't heard the intro in a long time. I haven't watched Pokemon in a long time. I wasn't like an avid watcher, but I did see like random episodes. And dude, that is straight up like hype. It is hype montage. Like, oh man, it gets you ready to watch a cartoon.
Yeah, it does.
It's got to be in my top 10 as far as like intro music. Intro music to get you hyped to watch the show. It's intro music wise, top 10. Mm-hmm. It's good.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty much just about at the end, so we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Ash catches the Primape.
Yeah.
Yep. He then thinks he's being funny and clever by throwing Primape into the hole with Team Rocket, so Primape beats up Team Rocket yet again.
Oh, he punches them into the sky.
Yes.
They're blasting off again.
Blasting off again. And then Primape goes over and beats up Ash one last time,
Yeah,
which
a little black guy. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, which I do have to say that led to probably the best joke in the whole episode. Let's see. When he's getting his ass kicked, Brock says, a hat might help. And Misty said, better start sending in postcards. I laughed so hard at that for some reason.
Yep.
I thought that was the funniest shit.
Yep.
But yeah, and we're at the end. They reach Celadon City and then talk about how lucky they are that they were chased by that Mankey, because if they weren't chased and beat up so many times, they wouldn't have gotten here so soon. I just remember that being really weird logic. But,
They must have, like earlier in the episode, they must have run like for miles from this Mankey.
Yeah.
And they just cut that out kind of thing. So like they're like, oh, we got here so fast because we ran for like 12 miles from this Mankey instead of walking it. So I do want to point out that Team Rocket, they do, if you watch the very end of the episode, they land in a different part of the continent, basically. Like, I don't know. They land way far off in literally a forest of Mankeys and Primapes. So they're about to get just jacked the fuck up. And there you go. And they sing the Pokemon names at the end of the episode.
the Pokerap. How do
the
you not
Pokerap.
remember? I was just gonna say, Keith, didn't you feel so gangster as a white suburban kid growing
No.
up? Listen to the Pokerap.
I don't think I actually ever really listened to it as a kid. I watched episodes here and there as a kid. I never listened to the very end. But at the very end of the end, they basically give you the secret is that if you listen to like the whole season and you memorize the Poke Rap from each episode, you will know all 150. That's the whole secret. Is that like they're building on the previous episode. So if you just take the rap from the end of each episode and commit it to memory and just string them together, you will know all 150. So there you go.
There you go. Wow. Didn't know that. Cool. Good to know.
That was at the very end of the episode. That's why you
Yes.
always watch it to the very end. It's just just like a Marvel movie, because you never know when Doctor Strange is gonna like, I don't know, finger a portal hole.
I was gonna say, or you always watch the Venture Brothers to the very end, because there's always an end scene after the credits for every episode,
There you go.
except one episode.
I was gonna say that's what they call it when Doctor Strange opens a portal. He fingers a portal hole, right? That's what they call it, right?
What are you saying, Keith?
I was just letting it slide,
Well, he uses
but he had
his
to bring it
fingers.
back up.
He uses his fingers to open the portal hole. So he's
So, portal hole?
yeah.
Are you saying it as one word?
Well,
I think he's talking about his anus.
It's two words, but it's a portal. It's a hole you jump through. That's a portal. So,
Oh God!
and he uses his fingers to make it happen.
To pry it open?
Kinda. I mean, he does a lot of circling.
Just call me Grape Ape.
There's a
Not
lot
Grape
of
Ape.
there's a
What
lot
the
of
hell?
there's
Prime
a lot
Ape.
of- there's a lot of concentration.
I couldn't remember his damn name. I was mixing him up with
damn.
Grape Ape, the purple ape from Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh jeez! How
Checks
many
out.
portal holes out of 10 would we give this
God
episode?
damn.
I will, since I picked, I'll give my answer. First, I would give this 7 portal holes. I thought it was, overall, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I had a little nostalgia for it, especially for the theme song. Like, the theme song alone, that would make me want to give it like a 9, just because I want to listen to that theme song again. But, after watching the whole episode and thinking how silly a lot of it is, especially the fucking jelly donut thing, I don't know. Overall, I just have to give it a 7, because it's yeah.
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 Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I think I'd come in at like a 6 on
Yeah.
this one, because I view these as all separate episodes. Like overall, the Pokemon series as a whole is probably in like the 9, high 9s for me.
Yeah.
But like this is honestly an episode that I know I've seen in the past, but I didn't actually form any like memories of it. Like what I took away from this episode back in the day was, hey, Ash caught a Mankey or a Primape, I guess, and it was kind of a dick to him. And that's basically the only memory I formed. I didn't remember the thing with the rice balls, the jelly donut type thing.
Yeah.
I'd heard of it just from, being on the internet and being plugged into YouTube and stuff like that. But
I was just thinking when you said Primate was being a dick, I think he's still a dick later on. Like a few episodes down the line, I think Ash actually decides to try using him. And when he's released, he's a dick to Ash again. Like he just attacks Ash and doesn't help him. Which
well, from
the reason I'm bringing it up, I like this because in the game, remember if your Pokemon got too high level and you didn't have like enough badges or whatever, they would become unruly. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I kind of like
that
that.
was only for traded Pokemon.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was just I thought it was like a level thing. Okay, cool. All right.
I'm pretty sure in a future episode, I don't think it's even that many episodes, Ash goes to like some sort of it's like where he has to fight like Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and I think
Mm,
he actually
mm-hmm.
ends up leaving the Primape with someone there to train him because he doesn't know how to train a fighting Pokemon or something like that.
Yeah,
Because
that
Ash
sounds
just has this
familiar.
pattern of like catch and release kind of thing where it's like he technically has a decent amount of Pokemon. It's just he never keeps them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So Keith, what did you think?
So anyway,
How many portal holes
I think I'm gonna
that
go
you
with
fingered?
Corey. I'm gonna rate it a 6. I don't. I have a weird nostalgia for Pokemon because not with the TV show, but with the original, like on Game Boy Color, I played Gold and I played Red. I played both of those and beat both of those, like when I was 13, let's say. It was middle school era, 12, 13, whatever. And loved it. It was fantastic. And I did not watch a lot of the show. I watched an episode here or there, so I don't have a ton of nostalgia for it. I feel like, honestly, I feel like it's this is the kind of show that like eventually we're gonna watch like Dragon Ball Z on this on our podcast, and I'm gonna rate that like much higher than this for literally no reason other than nostalgia. And
Yeah.
that's and because Dragon Ball Z definitely has less storyline, less character than this show, but I would probably rate it higher. And it's I don't know, like the episode was solid. It was a 19-minute episode, and they basically set up the storyline, found a problem, solved the problem, found another problem, solved that problem too. Like the first problem being Primeape or Mankey, and then second problem
So,
being Team Rocket, and then the
yeah.
compounded problem was Mankey evolving into Primeape, and then they solved both problems by capturing Primeape in order to then use Primeape against Team Rocket, and they did the
It's
whole
solid
thing.
story structure. Solid
Yes,
story
they
structure.
did.
Yeah. It
Eh,
flowed. There wasn't any big holes or weird
No,
inconsistencies. It all went along. Yeah, that I and even as a kid, I remember appreciating that because and I hate to bring up the Sonic the Hedgehog episode that no one will ever hear, but I mean, it's around the same time period, and I watched Sonic the Hedgehog that first episode, and it like was my mind was broken. But then you watch this, and like when you compare the two, it's night and day. Like
well,
just
Yeah.
from a storytelling perspective, it's like wow.
so this is the thing is that I would give it a 6.5 instead of a 6, but the problem is that they called onigiri donuts,
Yeah.
so it's a 6 because ultimately they could have said onigiri or they could have just said rice balls.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a chance of them saying onigiri, but
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I
I was
mean,
like,
this is
not in
yeah.
1998. You have to realize this was like
this is
one of the shows that like
mainstream.
was introducing anime to people. Like, yeah, I mean, even us, like, we're predisposed to calling it a cartoon. Whereas
Right.
if we were watching an episode of Bleach, an episode of Dragon Ball Z, we'd be saying anime, anime, anime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But like, it's so early in like everybody's mindset
that's
of like this is a cartoon,
no. You know what?
you know?
That's a fantastic point. Is that Pokemon was the bridge of people saying, no, this is a cartoon. They didn't actually tag it as anime because anime is like as a word or as a terminology. It really
Yes, it
means
is a word, Keith.
well, yeah, but it means Japanese animation. That's the previous terminology was Japanese animation. It eventually became anime. So the fact that Pokemon happened and people accepted it as a cartoon in America, it wasn't really like, I'm guessing some people were like, yeah, this is kind of anime, but like, it was a cartoon. Like, it actually bridged the gap.
Well, it was all a lot of marketing also. Like everything
Yeah.
Pokemon hit pretty much at the same time. The only thing that didn't really come out at the same time was the card game, which I think hit a year later.
Right. Right. Yep.
So all of a
Well,
sudden it was,
how much
here's the Pokemon Game Boy game, here's
how much earlier
the
did Pokemon
Pokemon
come out
show,
in,
here's,
how much earlier did it come out in Japan still? Doesn't matter.
February 96 for Japan, September 98 for us.
Still huge. Because honestly, this is the funny thing is that Japanese culture loves everything that American culture does, but secretly American culture feeds off of Japanese culture to get influences of what we do. So it was like the perfect symbiotic relationship of like Japanese culture, they did this show, it was perfect, it was perfectly translatable to American culture. We
Yeah,
latched
jelly
onto
donut,
it.
no naguri.
Yeah, there you go. We
Yeah, those are
latched
pretty much
on.
one to one.
We latched
Yep.
on to that show,
Apples to
and
apples.
then they like, went wild with it, and then we loved the fact that they went wild with it. Like that's
Yep.
it makes sense. I mean, I don't know.
You can even hear Tom's dog in the background, just like, could you guys
That's-
wrap it up already?
That's not my dog.
Nope,
That's
that was
Keith's.
that was my
Oh,
dog.
it's Keith's dog.
Yeah.
Keith's
Yeah.
dog has made an appearance. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife brought my dog up here because she's going to bed. So she
She
literally
was sick of him.
well, the problem is if she goes upstairs
Yeah.
without me, he'll bark. So she brings him up and then throws him into the room that I'm in. And then I'll bring him back downstairs, and then he's okay.
The,
That's your
I'm-
cue to hurry up.
Does she-
So you-
damn. Did you ever like forget an animal's name and it like fucked up the timing on your joke? What's your dog's name, Keith? Winston?
Winston.
yeah.
God damn it. Does she throw him in and say, Winston, go?
I choose you, Winston.
I was gonna say that's her way of letting Keith know he needs to
No.
get ready, get his nostalgia piece
no,
out.
I've always I've always told her that if she wants to go to bed, because we know that when if like she goes to bed, no matter down there, that he's gonna bark. So I've always told her if she wants to go to bed, just bring him up and throw him into the bonus room. And this is actually only like the second time that she's ever done that. So. And Winston gets thoroughly fucking confused. He's literally sitting next to me, and I'm petting him because he's just like super nervous. Like he did one circle around the room and came right to me, and he's just like, I don't know what to fucking do right here. He's like, I don't.
This is uncharted territory.
He's like, this room is weird. I don't know what
Why?
to do.
Why are your balls so stretchy?
Why are you not wearing pants? This is just.
A lot of questions.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of sweat. There's a lot of sweat.
Everything is salty.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
So,
that
listeners, with that being said,
Yeah. Yeah, we'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to suffer through listening to three guys ramble about cartoons.
and honestly, mostly other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of cartoons and mostly balls. If you'd like to ramble about our ramblings or what we rambled about, you can join the Cartoon Commentary Podcast group on Facebook. If any questions, comments, or corrections, you can reach us at cartooncommentarypodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, we're blasting off again.
Yes. Bye.
No, we're not going to do.
No. No.
Yeah. No.
Bye.
Okay. Goodbye. I'm definitely not Keith this time. Bye. Dick.